Well, believe it or not, we can learn a lot about estate planning from the A-listers in Hollywood. Attorney Jim Higgins with the Higgins Firm recently stopped by to explain. Jim, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, we can learn a lot from celebrities about the importance of estate planning, and most recently Tony Soprano. So what happened here in his case?
You know, for a character, his character on HBO, of course, spent his career ripping off the government and keeping them from his money, but in real life, he just had horrible estate planning, had almost none. And the man had about a $70 million estate, and I've read some places that perhaps up to 30 million of that may go to the government, simply because he didn't do some very simple estate planning. Now, you know, I think, of course, most of us don't have a $70 million problem, but we all need estate planning, even if it's just a will and a power of attorney. And you know, this is kind of an extreme example of what happens when you don't, but it really applies to almost everyone. Everyone needs these simple documents.
Right. He's definitely not the only celebrity that has faced this, but we can learn a lot from him. So we're going to go over some mistakes that are pretty common. The first one is choosing inappropriate guardians. What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, in your will for your children, you can set up a guardian to be in charge of their trust. For instance, if you want someone to be able to handle their money just like you do, and buy their school books and make sure they get their health care. Well, you want to make sure that you have someone that you trust, that is close around, local, that can care for your children, that isn't so old or elderly. You know, like sometimes people appoint grandparents, and by the time this comes around, grandparents really is not in a position to handle that. So you really want to think about the person that you're choosing to take care of your children.
Right. Good point there. All right, secondly, failing to update estate plans and account for complicated family situations. And this can get sticky, but something to think about.
It can. We've had, you know, our estate practice we do a lot of probating, and unfortunately, a lot of times somebody may go through a divorce, have new children, and they don't update their wills, but when they pass, their original will's still in effect. And truly, if you have these major life events, like I said, a marriage, a divorce, a child, you need to have these documents reviewed. You know, our people do that all the time, where they simply field phone calls or look at someone's will. Sometimes the will automatically will update and you don't have to, for instance, for the birth of a new child. But you should have someone check that out for you.
Now, another mistake is having scattered financial accounts. What do you mean by that?
Well, again, when we probate estates, you know, one thing that we're wanting to do is when we sit down with loved ones or the heirs, we got to figure out where the property is that you're going to get. Bank accounts, real estate, and some people just aren't organized. So when we do a will, we also have a package in there to make sure that a person has for their loved one and their heirs just a simple list of where their property is, to make sure that people know how things are supposed to be distributed, locate those bank accounts, locate life insurance policies, things that we just don't think about until it's too late sometimes.
A lot of great information. Planning is the theme.
Planning's the theme.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Kacy.
The Higgins Firm is serving Tennessee. Give them a call at 615-353-0930 or check them out at higginsfirm.com.